talk about the Detroit Lions and about how great they have been the last few weeks. The Lions, they held on to versus the Chicago Bears on Thursday, moving to 11-1 on the season. They are currently in first place in the NFC North. They are currently first place in the NFC playoff race. They are currently first place in everybody's heart. But who can stop the Detroit Lions' path to the Super Bowl? They are playing great football right now. Who do you think we can legitimately go out there and who can stop the Detroit Lions' path to the Super Bowl championship that they're on the quest for? So I got to looking, I got to thinking. I'm like, I'm looking at their schedule, right? They have a full 7 days off before they play Thursday night again versus the Green Bay Packers. That should be a pretty good game. At Ford Field, the Detroit Lions won 24-14 just a few weeks ago, giving the Green Bay Packers one of their 3 losses on the season. And then they play the Buffalo Bills the following week. And then they play a really gringy, upsetting Chicago Bears team. And then they play a 49ers team that is all but dead. And then they play the Minnesota Vikings in Week 18 to end the season. When we look at those games and those teams, really the only one that I could possibly think that could give them a battle, give them a shot, is the Green Bay Packers. And let's just be honest, the Green Bay Packers are probably going to lose that game. So it would not shock me one bit if they go undefeated for the rest of the regular season. But then we started looking at the playoffs, right? We started looking at the playoffs. When we look at the NFC playoff picture right now, we have the Philadelphia Eagles sitting at the number 2 seed. We have the Atlanta Falcons or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to be the 3rd seed. I think it's going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but let's just slow it down. Right now it is the Atlanta Falcons. And then we got the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Commanders all in the playoffs. But let's not sleep on the Dallas Cowboys. They're coming. They only have a 5% chance, but they're coming. They won 2 games in a row. They're Super Bowl bound. The team that I would be worried about for the Detroit Lions guys moving forward is the one-loss team that they got beat so far this season. That is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers is the biggest threat to the Detroit Lions besides the Philadelphia Eagles in this year's NFC playoff picture. The Philadelphia Eagles guys are one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and they are nearly 100% healthy, unlike the Detroit Lions, which are one of the most injured teams in the NFL. They do have 11 guys on IR, and another guy went down on Thursday. So they just keep getting these pop shots, right? So, Mark, when we look at the schedule moving forward, when we look at these teams that the Detroit Lions have to play, who can legitimately derail their path to the Super Bowl? Me personally, I think it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and or the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think?
I'm with you on that. I think Philly probably the most because their roster is stacked. But like you said, also, but the Buccaneers, me and Hoffy were talking about on the Power Ranking show that we think they're a team that could easily go on a run and win like the next 5 games in a row. And that's the type of team you don't want to play in the playoffs because they're hot. And especially if they go in with that playoff mentality already, that's a dangerous team.
Yeah, I mean, a hot team is a dangerous team, right? Ask Hoffy's New England Patriots when they were 17-0, 18-0 going into the Super Bowl versus a hot New York Giants team just a few years ago. Hoffy, you know all about. You
really have to bring that up.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you know all about shitting the bed in the Super Bowl and or the playoffs. Being a New England Patriots fan, who can legitimately derail the Lions? Because I like I said, I think it's going to be the Green Bay Packers or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the postseason, not the regular season. But what do you think, Hoffy?
Well, Buck, first off, I want to thank you for not telling the world my secret about how I shit the bed, even though I just did. But yeah. I think it's the Lions and the Eagles, conference to lose. I really don't know that I trust any other teams, because it's most likely going to be whatever team those two are facing is going to be coming into their home turf. So I don't see the Eagles or the Lions losing to any team except for the other. So I think it's the Lions or the Eagles coming out of the NFC.
So you're telling me that nobody's going to beat the Detroit Lions, Hoffy? Is that what you're saying? Like, is that what I'm hearing come out of your mouth?
Nobody, not even the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nobody. Somebody get this man a beer because he is obviously not drunk enough to think that the Detroit Lions will not lose. Guys, the Philadelphia Eagles, Mark, you've been on the Philadelphia Eagles nuts for a long, long time. I am fully engulfed in those nuts or down in my throat. And I am like spitting them up. Give me some Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I understand that the Detroit Lions are playing good football. They're 11-1, like my man Jay said, right? Well, where is he at? I don't think his comment popped up on my chat here, but I saw it on Facebook. He said 11-1. We're 11-1, baby. What can you do about it? What can you do about it is play the Philadelphia Eagles. What can you do about it? Play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What you can do about it is you don't want to play the Dallas Cowboys. When they make it to the playoffs, you do not want to be playing the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just going to say it. Mark, what are you shaking your head about? You don't think the Dallas Cowboys can make it?
Come on, Buck. We were talking about your rankings like last time about how you needed to get your head checked. You definitely need to get your head checked if you think the Cowboys have a shot at going to the playoffs. I know you said earlier 5% chance. Yeah. Come on, bro. You really don't. Let's live in the now. Come on, bro. I'm
just saying. So my man Jonas Howard is over here in the chat, and he's saying that the Green Bay Packers will beat the Detroit Lions. Jonas, is this on Thursday? As in, was it 5 days from now or whatever, 6 days from now? I can't do math off the top of my head. Or is it in the playoffs? Like, that is the real question, guys. So we think that I think that the Green Bay Packers can make a deep playoff run. I do not think they're going to beat the Detroit Lions on Thursday, right? That place is going to be rocking. Ford Field is going to be Motor City loud, right? They want to beat down the Green Bay Packers, and they probably will beat down the Green Bay Packers, but that just gives the Packers fuel for the fire, right? The Packers are going to take a play out of the playbook from the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this season when they played the Buffalo Bills. Vanilla defense, vanilla offense, right? That is what is going to happen. So, Mark, when you look at this Thursday game, Detroit Lions at home, 11-1. Green Bay Packers, winners of 7 of the last 8. Their one loss coming to the Green Bay Packers, I believe it was 4 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, maybe five weeks. Can the Packers pull that upset at all?
They can. They have a really good team. But like me and Hoff were talking about last show, you were MIA in Kansas City watching the Chiefs and Raiders. We both kind of said that. Sorry, man. Well, I forget what the subject was.
We were talking about how awesome Buck is.
Yeah, about how the Green Bay Packers can upset the Detroit Lions on Thursday.
Yeah, they have a really good team. But like I was saying on our last show without you, is I think that Jordan Love is going through a sophomore slump, and I think every week he really hasn't played that great the last couple weeks. So I kind of see them maybe falling and not winning this game and going on downfall. I'm not going to say they're not going to make the playoffs, but I see them kind of limping into the playoffs. They
will make the playoffs, and they'll be one of the most dangerous teams in the playoff. Hoffy knows all about dangerous teams. Like I said, the New York Giants, twice. Hoffy, twice.
Well, especially when you have to play a team, like if Detroit plays the Green Bay Packers, that's going to be a third game. So just divisional games in itself are tough, but then, having to beat a team for a third time. Buck, I'm pretty sure last year we talked about you and coaching and how you had beaten the brakes off of a team, and then you played them for a third time, and I think they reversed the tides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we definitely put an 80 burger on them in like week 2, put another 50 burger on them on week 7, and we played them first round of the playoffs. They put a 50 burger on us. It was just, you get a little swag, you get a little confidence walking into that game, and they punch you in the mouth. So my man John People says, the only people that can beat the Detroit Lions are the Detroit Lions themselves. Self-inflicted wounds. That's the only team that can derail them from the Super Bowl championship. And John, I don't think that's true. I don't think this is the Detroit Lions of even last season, right? When Dan Campbell was going for, well, let me rephrase that. Dan Campbell is going for it on 4th and 15 from his own 30 on the first drive of the game. But for some reason, the ball is falling their way this time. And he's going to, he's going to get that swag, going to get that little confidence in him, but the ball's going to probably bounce their way because, the refs are rigging it for the Detroit Lions. So, Mark, can the Detroit Lions overcome self-inflicted wounds to get to the Super Bowl, or is that legitimately the only team that could stop them is themselves?
I think most importantly, dude, they got to get over these injuries. I know they've done it week by week, but at some point, it's going to catch up to them. When in the playoffs, it could be that could be the worst timing for them. So that's what I would like. I'm on high on the Lions, so I wouldn't want to see that. So it all depends on if they can overcome all these injuries.
Yeah, Hoffy injuries have been the big key. Can the Detroit overcome these self-inflicted wounds, as John is saying? I don't think there's any self-inflicted wounds, but can they overcome them to make it to the Super Bowl?
I've been high on the Lions all year, and I hate to stray off the path, but these injuries are kind of piling up. I do think that the trade that they got with the Browns definitely helps them in the pass rush, but they've lost a lot of key players, and this Philadelphia Eagles team is just continuing to build. Saquon Barkley is just, I mean, there's no, he's playing at an elite level, and that's an understatement. So. The Eagles, I think, are a team that you definitely got to watch out for. But other than that, I think, again, they're going to be playing in Detroit. That stadium's going to be rocking. That high-powered offense is going to be able to, play against pretty much anybody. The only team I'm really worried about as a Lions fan would be, the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, guys. So you heard it here first. Hoffy is saying Steelers versus Eagles in the Super Bowl. He is deviating from his Bills and Lions.
When did I ever say the Steelers?
You literally just said it. But guys, that is the question.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Who can beat the Detroit Lions? Who can stop their paths to the Super Bowl? That is the question.